Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another gunpla review, and today I'm taking a look at an Iron Blooded Orphans kit that I somehow missed back in 2016 when they were coming out. And this right here is the high-grade Geirail. So jumping straight into absolutely everything we get inside this box once you snap it all together. And just like we always would have seen with the high-grade Iron Blooded Orphans line, this is a small kit that still comes fully loaded. So what we get in here is the high-grade Geirail itself, the hover unit for using round back, the shield axe, the rifle, and a set of color correcting stickers. But before we actually talk about all of this, let's get around to the build. Wow, from the red logo on the box here and from this bag you can tell this must have came out on the day this kit was released, that it's been knocking around for 5 or so years. I've never seen a gunpla bag be, well, not translucent like this. You can't actually see through it at all. Man, this poor kit's been waiting a long time to be built. Whoa, actually, the bag just kind of fell apart. That's unusual. Wow, even the polycaps in here feel a little tough. Like, I mean, these are hard. The edges are a bit sharp compared to the usual soft, rubbery polycap feel. These feel like they've, well, petrified slightly. Unique. I lived in Japan for 6 years, and the two things I miss the most are the snacks and the people. Unlike people though, you can have snacks shipped to you in the mail in a wooden box. Have you ever wanted to travel to Japan for free? This video was sponsored once again by those snack masters over at Boxu, a monthly snack box subscription service that delivers original assortments of premium Japanese snacks and tea pairings. Boxu makes such a perfect and memorable gift for anyone in your life who appreciates Japanese snacks and culture, especially during a time where people aren't able to travel as easily as they would like. And actually, not only would you be gifting them Boxu, which is already awesome, but also you would technically be gifting them the chance to win free tickets to Japan, because Boxu is having a giveaway. They will be picking a lucky winner at random to win a free set of tickets, and anyone who is subscribed before December 31st is automatically entered. I'll include a link in my description so you can check out the terms and conditions and other methods of entry. And to make it even more awesome, before the 30th of December, you can order your own Boxu and receive it in a special Kiribako wooden box. Lovingly handcrafted in Koga City, Japan by Matsuda Kiribako, and the gold foil design is exclusive to Boxu. How sharp does that look? So do you want free tickets to Japan? Use my code MECHA10 and the link in the description to become eligible to win the giveaway by subscribing to Boxu. My code will get you 10% off your subscription, so don't miss out on this unique opportunity, available for anyone who subscribes until December 31st. So when it actually comes to the lore of the Geirail in Iron Blooded Orphans, this is basically the precursor to the Greys, the main grunt suit we would have seen in the first season of Iron Blooded Orphans. But when it comes to the actual real world and these model kits, this Geirail is actually based on the Greys, and a lot of the runners we have in here are the actual Greys runners. So the best way to put it is, this is a Greys frame with some different armor. So that does mean if you've got yourself a Greys, or any variant of said Greys, you will be able to use this seamlessly with those parts. And considering the Iron Blooded Orphans line, you can use it with pretty much anything that you want. And once again, like these Iron Blooded Orphans kits are, we've got a inner frame on a high grade and it all builds up onto that perfectly. Now the only thing I will mention about this is there are a lot of knobs all over the surface, and some large ones at that. So if you have trouble with big knobs or you want a good, perfect, works every time way to get rid of them, I highly recommend the Racer by Gun Primer. This just gets rid of the biggest, thickest knobs like they never existed. This is awesome, and you can use the balancer afterwards to take away the shine that it tends to give to the plastic. Highly recommended, and there's a link in the description if you want one. But anyway, let's jump right on into the aesthetics. So jumping right into the aesthetics with that full 360-degree spin, and I have to say I am blown away by this. But then again, I always am when it comes to Iron Blooded Orphans grunts. I can't believe I slept on this for so long. So for the most part, this is basically a Greys, but it looks kinda cooler. Well, in my opinion, it looks kinda cooler. It definitely looks like it would have came before the Greys. It doesn't look as refined, as streamlined, or as slick. It definitely looks a lot more militaristic, and actually when my wife saw this, she asked me if it was a 30-minute missions kit, which it does kind of look like. Now, I would have actually gotten some for a bit of comparison, but they're locked deep in the dungeon at the moment, so if I have this lying around next time I'm doing a 30-minute missions video, I'll pop it in there. Now I have done a couple of modifications to this, but they're only minimal. 3 things. That is, I'll talk about those in a second when we get in a bit closer, but this looks great. It looks so much like the Greys, but not really like the Greys at the same time. The big head with the large sensor looks great. The lighter armor gives it a more militaristic, mecha kind of feel, and it just looks and feels like a grunt. I adore this. The color separation is quite good, but I have not used any stickers but the ones up on the head, so let's take a look at those first. So like I mentioned, I have not used any stickers on this kit besides the 2 either side of the head camera and the one inside of the head camera. There is quite a lot of stickers in here, and as for what they're to color correct, we've got 2 for color correcting either side of the head camera there. There's one inside as well, but that's not what is giving it that nice luster. I'll mention that in a second. We've got these fairly large gray ones. Those are for using on the sides of the legs right there. Just on the feet, that little green hexagonal part. Next up, number 6 and 7, those long ones on the very left. Those are actually for on those chest cylinders right there, which should be in gray. And then 9, those semicircular ones to the right of those ones that we just talked about, go on the sides of said cylinders. That big yellow strip up top, which is 5, that is for on that yellow part on the Geirail's back. I guess it's not the correct shade of yellow. Personally, I prefer color separated parts, so that's why I left it like that. So finally, we have those 4 black ones right there, and they're for all around the red visor segment on the main camera of the Geirail right here to black out all around it. And as for the extremely simple modifications I made to this kit, first off, I used a standard fine liner style Gundam marker to black panel lines some of the areas just to bring out the detail. I took a file to the safety knob that was up on the head right here to make sure that is nice, beautiful, and sharp. And finally then I got the Chrome Mecha Gundam EX marker. Now that's what I used inside of the visor up top to make sure that reflects the light out in that nice kind of candy ruby style. That looks pretty damn awesome. I love doing that. Highly recommend this marker. So yeah, when we get in a little bit closer, this is exactly what you'd expect from an Iron Blooded Orphans kit. It's got an inner frame which is great. It's got some very nice detail, but it is a very simplistic kit. This one is super tight out of the box. I have not tightened it up at all, but unlike the Gundam frames, I find the Greys frames hold up very well. On top of that, we do have some really stripped back Greys looking parts on this. For example, we've nothing round in the back of the forearms, just this pretty much empty peg segment right here where we would have had some wrist armor, and we now have some hard points up on the tops of the shoulders, which means that this would be compatible with other Iron Blooded Orphans accessories, and at this point, because it exists, 30-minute missions kits. But yeah, I adore this kit and I don't know why I slept on it. So jumping back once again to the beginning of the video, and there is the high-grade Geirail with absolutely everything that it comes with. So let's take a look at those accessories one at a time. So first up in here we've got the back hover unit, and jumping into the manual just to get a bit of a blurb about that, and what it says is additional armament that makes it possible to achieve high flexibility of mobile suit even when used on land. Since it is large and can maintain high output, it can be used on a variety of frames. So I will mention this is extremely color inaccurate. As you can see, for this particular kit, the vast majority of the outer armor is meant to be in the same navy blue as the Geirail itself. But when it comes to the actual unit that we get in here, this is cast entirely in grey, made out of 2 segments of plastic, but cast entirely in grey. Again, not really the worst. This does make it usable with other Iron Blooded Orphans kits, but it is worth noting if you want this accurate, you're going to need a whole lot of navy blue paint. So as you can see, the Geirail right here is extremely lightly armored around back. So in order to protect that butt and get it hovering into the air, this just attaches on there, just like so. So once again, this may not be color accurate, but I will mention it does look quite cool and completely changes the vibe of the Geirail entirely. It gives it a lot more bulk around back, a lot more protection, and that does look pretty cool. Again, shame about the color. So now jumping into the weapons, and the first weapon we have in here has a very short blurb, and a name that kind of gets the point across immediately. This is the Shield Axe. It can also be mounted on the arm for use as a shield. That's the blurb. It fails to mention that it's also an axe. So to connect this on, it's very simple. It just attaches on where the Greys' wrist armor would have been. So it just pops on just like so, and that is what it looks like from both sides. So that can be swung up pretty simply out in front to be used as a shield. So because this is the Shield Axe, I assume once it's gonna be used as a shield, the Geirail puts its arm up like that and will grab it like so. But because this has a thick end, you can't just slide the hand on. So it's time for that sandwich hands. Pop on the hand like that, and then the rear of the hand like that. And there we go, we've got the Geirail ready to unsheath that axe. Or should I say just disconnect? Disconnect like that. Didn't go as expected. In order to transform this from shield mode to axe mode, all you have to do is disconnect the main segments like so, flip them towards the front, and click them in like this. Now I have to say, this is not the prettiest weapon by any margin. It is full of hollow parts which could look a whole lot better, but then again, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. What matters is how good it is at chopping. But it doesn't look much good at that either, does it? On to the next one. So the next and last accessory we have in here is the aptly named and simply named rifle. What it says is single action mobile suit rifle. Some characteristics are the stability of its sights due to the side grip and the abundance of number of bullets, loaded through the use of a drum magazine. Attaching this into the hand is about as simple as it comes. You just slide it on into the hand and you're done. Now I will mention the right wrist on mine right here seems to be dropping out a lot. The hand just seems to fall out all the time. I'll take a closer look at this when we get to the articulation, but on this weapon we also have a handle that can swing up just like so, and this can be held in both hands for that increased accuracy. Finally, there is what it will look like up on a shelf, fully kitted out with all of its entire loadout. And even though its weaponry is quite simple and basic, that's what gives it that extra rough grunt feel, and I love it. So finally onto the articulation, and as usual we're going to be working from the head down, but before that I will mention about the general build and feel. This is rock solid besides the issue I've been having with this wrist over here, that when ever I try to move it, it just kind of instantly comes loose and gets a bit like that there, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. But besides that, this kit is rock solid because it's based on a graze frame. When it comes to the neck in here, we've got a mild giggity 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 goo, a little bit up, a little bit down, full side to side, and the full side to side tilt. So the torso has a nice little forward and back motion here. This can be locked into place just by pushing all of that in. But when that is out, we've got all the way to the front like that with the shoulder and the chest, and all the way to the back like so. So very nice. The joint inside of the shoulder is arranged to move down and up. And I will mention the usual shoulder polycap on this kit, and it's probably the same with all grazes, is actually inside of the foot. So that's interesting. So as for what we can get from that, there is the raise of the arm all the way up. The shoulder armor here can move independently to the arm. We've got the full upper arm spin. Only a single point bend for the elbow, so that is all we get. So as for the wrist joint, it is a standard ball and socket. And I will mention this one's a lot more secure than the other. We've got a little bit of an ab crunch. There it is, all the way to the front, all the way to the back. The waist here is a ball joint, which is a little bit on the loose side, so that does fall out on me sometimes. But that gives you the full spin there and a little bit of wiggle room to get some more poses out of it. But again, can pop out quite regularly. The hip joint is fixed, so that won't be moving anywhere. There is no skirting armor on this particular kit, and as for the kick, there it is all the way up to the front. It gets a little bit blocked directly to the front, so it has to kick out to the side ever so slightly. There it is out to the back, nothing blocking that. And as for the splits, almost, but not quite. I absolutely love the upper leg spin on these, so it spins around that cylinder. It's not your usual kind of spin. That, to me, is pretty unique. We've got a double jointed bend at the knee, so there's bend the first, there is bend the second, so it does move the knee armor out ever so nicely. So one more time, there it is bent up one, and there it is bent up two. When it comes to the ankle joint, we have a ball here and a peg for pivot right here. So getting this on the ground to test out the functional movement, there it is all the way to the front. So not great. There it is all the way out to the back. So once again, quite basic, but the side is actually ridiculous. This doesn't even happen at the ankle. So there it is all the way then to the other side so it can hit the ground. The foot on this kit is fixed in position, so there is no toe bend or anything like that. So on the whole, the articulation on the high-grade Geirail is quite decent. We do have some limited joints like the ankles, as well as around the waist, but besides that, this does kick some butt, especially for a grunt. Now, when it comes to how solid this is, as of right now, this is rock solid, maybe even a little too tight in places. But this has been around for a while, so if you've got one of these, let me know down there in the comments. How's it holding up? So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this to me is a silver tier kit and exactly what I would expect from a high grade. I always felt like the Iron Blooded Orphans high grades really revolutionized high grade in a direction it never continued to evolve. This kit has a full inner frame. Of course, that is besides the feet and the head, but it does have a full inner frame, which is really cool. I've always found the Graze frame to be my favorite. I love the Grazes. The high grade Grazes are so much fun to customize, kit bash together, and just play around with, and this is the same. This is a kit that I want another couple of. When it comes to the aesthetics, it's absolutely beautiful, but there is a lot of segments that are not anime color accurate, so you may want to paint this kit. When it comes to the accessories, they are a little bit on the basic side, but you've got your close combat weapon, long range weapon, and another accessory for around back. Finally then, the articulation is quite great, it feels rock solid right out of the box, and a whole lot of fun to pose. So once again, silver tier, exactly what I would expect from high grade, and it's held up extremely well. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to Boxu for supporting the channel by sponsoring this video, and of course thanks to you for watching, and I will see you next time. Once again, I cannot finish this video right here without thanking those who support me here on the channel as members and over on Patreon, including Craig Jerry, Caleb Engelhardt, Van Fawn, Global Frequency Studios, Lauren Seahack, Joseph Kukluk, Mr. Winter, Forsetti, Joe, RG59061, and Gunpla UK Limited.